Welcome to what has already been a busy day in Port Angeles, Washington at Extreme Sports Park. The crowd's here. The teams are getting set. The countdown to the final run begins soon. Only the fastest boats in the Northwest can beat the clock. It's down to the last run. It is American Sprint Boat Racing. Monsters of the Midway about to perform in front of this great crowd at Port Angeles, Washington. I'm Jim Trado, along with Brian Olson. Rob Klepper has pit duty, and he's been busy down there. The men in the fluorescent shirts make it happen. They are the ones on course. If there's something that goes on, and this is how they kind of get ready. You want to see how the water feels? Well, let's take a dip before we get racing here.
Isn't that something else? That's a good way to get primed up. Let's talk to Rob Klepper.
The track that we're going to tackle here today with the sprint boats in Port Angeles, Washington, as the drivers tell me, fellas, is very technical. And what makes it technical is there's no straightaways. 27 turns. That's the layout here today. The track, 15 feet wide, about 3 feet of water. Not a lot of room for air. But when these guys haul around here in 500, 600, 700 horsepower, they put on a show for the fans. It's going to be fun to watch them here today.
Time elimination starting qualifying to get to the 8 cut. A lot of different boats, a lot of different configurations when it comes to the engines. It's a pretty wide open rule book, Brian.
Yeah, when it comes to this class category in the super modifieds, pretty much small block Chevrolets. There's some Fords involved, but these are the ones where you can have the aluminum cylinder heads and a lot more modifications than you can in the A400s. These boats will be a good bit quicker.
13 boats to try to get to the final 2, and that'd be the finals coming up later in the program. We're going to see indeed some very fast runs here. Can they put all the horsepower down, if you will, on this course?
I got to say, today, you're not going to be able to use it all. This is a very, very tight course, and they just found out the configuration this morning.
Qualifying couple rounds here. The number 69 boat we see in action, Dennis Hughes and Madia Haskey. They have been fast.
You could tell by looking right there, and you could actually hear the PA announcer say, great run. It was 40.79 seconds. Keep in mind, all the boats in the Supermod category get 4 opportunities in qualifying to make that 8 cut.
Some had difficulties, some flew through it. Let's check back in with Rob Klepper, who's in the pit, says some of these teams have a lot of work to do yet today.
Number 18 for Twisted Racing got up on the beach there. What happened?
Well, we loosened the boat up, and it really worked. We really loosened the boat up. But I wasn't going to give up. I figured, if I can't be first, I just want to put on a show. Like I tell everybody, I might not be the best, but I'm really, really fun to watch.
It really was fun to watch. And what was it like to navigate that ride?
Well, there wasn't much navigating to do once we ended up on the island, but it was so fun, and it's fun riding with Bucky.
Glad to see they're still smiling. More to come here from Extreme Sports Park. Stay tuned. Welcome back to this super modified load-in of the American Sprint Boat Racing at Extreme Sports Park in Port Angeles, Washington, about 80 miles west of Seattle. And this crowd knows they're in for a great show in the super mod class, Brian.
Yeah, it's a little bit chilly here today, but we're going to get warmed up here with Supermod and Rob Klepper.
Well, as we get set for the quarterfinals in Super Modified, Dennis Hughes in Overkill has been the fastest. 45.948, the fastest run he laid down in qualifying. Now, the top 8 after qualifying will make up the quarters, then we'll go to 4, and of course the finals in Super Modified. But right now, all eyes on that number 69.
We're down to the 8 cut, the fastest 8 boats of the 13 that showed here at Port Angeles, Washington.
One of the most important things that you heard Rob Klepper say right there was consistency. It's said in a number of different categories in sports. I always use the comparison to drag racing, but it's also the same right here. And this tricky layout of this track today, without any long straightaways, at first you must finish in order to finish first.
Hines and Correa, the 8th best time to make the 8 cut, getting to the finish line.
Woo! Happy too, look. Look at that arm.
This is one of the most emphatic navigators we've seen here today.
I love it, man. This is a great thing to, oh, man.
Took a big chunk of turf there. 15 feet the width of the channel here, just about 2 or 3 feet deep, but these guys using every inch of what's available here on the racing surface.
They borrowed some of the ground, but it didn't really hurt them all that bad.
53.74, that's a good mark to set here as we begin our march to the 4 cut. 8 boats now.
They're happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to go, man.
New name for that boat, Mixed Emotions.
Exactly. Good call.
Next up, Jamie Hassel and Leslie Hassel. They work a lot on everybody else's boats in the Fat Buddy Racing team. Their time behind the wheel and a navigator starts now in the 8 cut.
Some 4 to 5 machines.
Missed the corner.
Oh, my goodness. That is a DNF automatically. Tough break. That's just, I hate to keep using the term with drag racing. It's just like a red light start. It puts you out immediately.
Like rally racing, how far do you angle that hand, knowing what the navigator's telling you? Is it a tight left or a wandering left? After 2 boats in the 8 cut, we've got a lot more action to come here. Hines and Korea, the fastest among the 2 that have qualified. Next up, the 6th quickest boat in our qualifications comes out. It's the Fear Not Veteran Tango.
Beautiful candy apple red blended into basically a black, a candy red over black pearl on the back. That is one good looking boat.
Clint Birch and Patrick Wiggins at the wheel, and they've got the smoked in flames on the side of the boat. They win my best paint job of the day.
Yeah, we like to call them ghost flames in the business of painting. And there's the first bobble that's unfortunate. That baby took away about 2 seconds right there.
Kieran burping the gas here, trying to get back in the game, if you will. Imagine one bobble really does mess you up, and that's you have to just forget about it. Unfortunately, oh
man, oh man.
Meeting the fence there. Hi, fans. Wow, what a tough run.
For what we got to consider one of the prettiest boats on the property.
Just one burp and he knew he lost it. Man, does it happen that quick.
You know what? It's, as you mentioned a moment ago, you have that one very first bobble, and then you just get fouled up from that point on. I have to think, in my mind, I'm not behind the wheel. I've driven plenty of fast cars, but never one of these sprint boats. But you just have to think that changes your whole mindset, and you're just fouled up from that point on. And that baby's got a little fire. They got a little extra fuel.
Good look at the super modified engine as it sits idle in the water, Brian.
Yes, indeed. Yes, sure enough is. So 2 DNFs. So now we got 5 to go, and we're going to need 3 for the 4 cut.
Next up, Robert Cox and Amy Cox. In the 049, great look out the roll bar next to the driver.
Roll bar is one of the multitude of safety features that must be done on these machines. Proper belts, proper helmets, just like any racing vehicle car-wise. And take a good look at that candy apple blue. Yellow pearl on the left, candy green on the right, and that beautiful Obsession logo on the top of that boat. That's nice.
With a splash of yellow, let's see if Robert Cox can get this corner. That's been a trouble spot for some of these racers. He indeed had to burp the gas there, but it's such a tight left-hander in these big super mod boats.
Again, we go back to that one word we talked about earlier, and that's consistency. Get that thing through the course, try to keep those RPMs up, and get that thing to the finish line. That's the first thing you got to do.
To the line he goes. Robert Cox records a time of 50.634.
And that'll be good enough to make it for now. Without a doubt, he's your top qualifier, the team of Cox and Cox.
We're coming back to Extreme Sports Park in Port Angeles, Washington. Stay tuned. More of the 8 cut on the way. Welcome back to the American Sprint Boat Racing Super Modified class.
Fans are having a good time. We love the fans again. They're 4,000 to 5,000 deep here on a sort of a chilly day here in the state of Washington. It's so beautiful to see the mountains in the background.
4 more boats to decide who gets in the 4 cut. Going off 5th. The number 156 of Ron DeMoe and Stephen Church.
Now listen to the difference of the sound right there. What you got right there is what we call 8-into-1 header pipe. Now, if the water ever subsides enough, you can take a look in the middle, and you'll see just one header coming out of the back. That's why this thing sounds so different, almost an IndyCar type sound. Take all 8 exhaust pipes and roll them into one collector right there in the middle.
I think half a sheet of paper should cover the rule book on what the engine modifications can and can't be in this class.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things, and again, this is the most highly modified machines of the 2 categories. The A400's obviously a good bit more limited, and the super mods, pretty much wide open. Of course, you can't have a blower, can't have nitrous, but single carburetor, you can kind of open the door and run from there.
To the finish for the Bad Influence boys, 52-297 for Ron DeMoe and Stephen Church. Good run.
Should put him in the 3rd place spot here overall. Oh, number 2. Good job, good job. So 3 of 4 for the 4 cut with 3 to go.
Dylan Cummings and Terry Cummings are our next pairing, driver and navigator here in boat number 99. For TNT Racing, Vaughn Trapp has worked awfully hard on this boat to get it ready for this race. That crew chief no doubt watching from the shore intently. Map in head, not in hand, as he probably knows this course as good as his racers do.
Yeah, and the crew chiefs they have their hands tied to a certain point. We heard in the interview earlier, they changed the setup on the boat. The jet pump unit on these machines is the most important part, but there are a number of other things. On these conditions when it's chilly, you can add a whole bunch more fuel by way of jetting the carburetors. They like to have cool air, big barometers, and that makes for bigger horsepower for these type machines that are naturally aspirated on fuel.
361 cubic inches in this Chevy engine. Getting around the course here for Dylan Cummings. See if he can get a better time and get in that forecut. What to do at the finish, we'll see. 50.521. Is it going to be fast enough?
Oh, yeah, that's good for number 2, I do believe, at this time. Oh, baby.
P1.
Top of the back.
The fastest 2 boats have yet to go, though, here in the 8 cut. We'll see what they can do now.
And that does include the most consistent and the machine that went 40.79 in the Overkill team. We'll see that one last. Right now, though,
Jolly Rogers Racing out of Wrangell, Alaska. Eric Warner, their driver. Nicole Brown, the navigator.
358 cubic inches of small block Chevrolet. And as you see the numbers, you think, my goodness, the 400 machines can run over 400 cubic inches. These machines have the looser crank, the aluminum rods, the aluminum cylinder heads, and are so much more highly modified. And the smaller the cubic inches, the higher it goes in RPM range, and that's really, really critical on these short courses.
Just saw one bobble there, Eric. Eric cut the corner a bit early there, Brian, and he's got it back under throttle now, but that may have cost him a tenth or two.
Got to get that baby above 52 seconds total, and I think they will get the job done, and they will indeed go to the top of the pack on that run.
And they are P1 now, 48.739. We talked about the fastest boat in qualifying. Well, that's next as Warner and Brown get to enjoy the top. For a brief moment, we'll see indeed if Dennis Hughes and Madia Haskey can back up their qualifying run here in the 8 cut. They were the fastest all afternoon long. The best of the 4 qualifying rounds sets the timing for the 8 cut. Hughes had a masterful run this morning. Let's see if we can back it up here. Wow, look at how quickly he gets after it. I mean, it's noticeable how quickly he gets through the infield.
That machine is set up so perfectly. And again, you can see that 8-into-1 pipe that I talked about earlier. This is the second one that we've seen here in the 8 cut. And that is a fabulous onboard shot right there for Dennis Hughes. Look at that thing go.
His navigator's been with him for quite a while. She's Madia Haskey. She indeed has been part of very successful championship runs in the past, and they put together what it is, that championship run. Look at that, 46, 298. Wow. They now become the boat to beat in the 4 cut. Wow.
Hughes and Haskey, number 1 qualifier, made 5 perfect runs so far, and prove it right there. Cox and Cox make the 4 cut. 4 boats, unfortunately, looking for the trailer.
Welcome back to the American Sprint Boat Racing at Extreme Sports Park in Port Angeles, Washington. I'm Jim Trado, along with Brian Olson. Rob Klepper's also got something in the pits for us.
Not a whole lot of straightaways out there, is it, the turning?
Yeah, well, the rotation changes every time that we come to the track, so we can't really set the boat up until we get here and see what the rotation is going to be like and how tight the corners are and what corners we're going to be taking. So we like to get out there and get a run in so that we can make the adjustments that we feel we need to make.
Exactly what we talked about a little bit ago. The adjustments right there when it comes to pitch angle and such. And once again, tune up in that carburetor as we get set to go here with the 4 cut.
And Dennis Hughes has the chance to watch a bit more because he's the last of the 4 boats to go in the 4 cut. First up, Cox and Cox, Robert Cox and Amy Cox in the 049.
Candy apple blue machine I like to talk about. And they are first out, but they were pretty much made a good, consistent run earlier. You have to be good if you're in that final 4. Some 30-plus boats here this weekend for 2 class categories. And right now, we're in the middle of Super Modified in the 4 cut.
Great look at see how Amy communicates with her hand, telling her driver where to go exactly. Very animated when it's a very tight corner. It's a great look as they're trying to make their way around this course as fast as humanly possible.
I'm going to say Robert did a fairly good job right there, a great job, getting up on the grass just a little bit, ease out that throttle, put that thing right back in the middle of the groove.
Hammer down 50.118 to set the mark.
That was a great run given those circumstances. I'm not kidding you. Awesome.
Fans enjoyed as well. Good clean run. You mentioned that just a bit of turf on the right side. Nice job by Robert Cox, an engineer by trade, and office manager Amy Cox, his navigator.
That was a good job. I would have never guessed that thing to be a 50-11.
View from the fans now as we get on the button again with the Cummings and Cummings duo here for our next run in the floor cut. That's Dylan Cummings, navigator Terry Cummings.
Von Trapp is the crew chief, and as you mentioned earlier, they're kind of on the outside. They're just trying to run their hands together there and trying to figure out what their driver and navigator is going to do here. Consistency, once again, I overuse that word a lot, I know, but it is the name of the game here.
Name of the boat is Jeepers Creepers, and they don't have any moments to even say that here on this course.
This is about as tight a course layout as I have ever seen here in Washington. I guarantee you that. No time to air it out.
Good turn there. A lot of drivers get a little high-sided there on the right-hand side. Not this time for Dylan Cummings. Nice run.
Good-looking run for the Cummings gang here. Can they beat that 50-second mark? Going to be close.
To the line, 51.266. So I think after I said nice run, they caught a little bit of turf with the rear of that boat, unfortunately. But a nice, solid run. We'll see if indeed that can propel them into the top two, which gets them into the finals.
We always seem to have a way of putting a hex on them about the time we say anything. You notice that? I guarantee it.
Well, I'm sure they're worried about the next two boats because they are the faster ones from the 8 cut, including our next challenger, the number 146 of Eric Werner and Nicole Brown. Eric wastes no time once he sees that green flag waving. He's on it. Look at that sound. These fans are digging it.
Oh, man, you got to love that sound. If you love the sound of a high-winding small block Chevrolet, this is the place to hear it at. Oh, baby. Now, when you hear that happen right there, that engine overwhelms like that. It'll overrun. The RPM spin real high. That means that that jet at the back is above the point of where it needs to be, and that's not good. That means you're losing a lapse time there as well.
Jolly Ranchers Racing trying to get this thing, Jolly Rogers Racing, excuse me, as they're going around this course. Keep in mind, they have to set the fastest 2 times to advance. One of the 2 times, and right now, they're very much on the edge of that.
Woo! That's a great run.
That's making a statement now, isn't it?
Great job right there. That'll put them right in the top of the pack. And as you mentioned before, the top 2 boats are yet to go. Well, the fastest and most consistent one on the property is coming up next.
Super modifieds, heavily modified engines, and look at this veteran racer. Dennis Hughes and Nadia Haskey are after it.
Oh, you just gotta love that sound, man. Again, that different header configuration, if you will. All 8 cylinders of exhaust going into one. And the reason for that, people say, why would they do that? For all intents and purposes, it's torque. You want torque in these motors to come off of those corners. And these guys, Dennis does a fabulous job of keeping the RPM range about as high as he possibly can. And what he's doing as well as anybody ever has. Today, he's racing this racetrack.
Madia's already clapping. She knows they're on this straightaway now. She's hanging on.
They can tell, man. They don't need anything to show them.
And what a run they had. 46.639. That is getting it done. The finals are next. We're taking a breath. We'll be right back for more American Sprint Boat Racing. Down to the finals of the American Sprint Boat Racing at Extreme Sports Park in Port Angeles, Washington. Down to the fastest 2 boats. It's been an action-packed day already. 4 rounds of qualifying, the 8 cut, the 4 cut, and now the finals. The bridesmaid, if you will, gets to go first to become the bride. The second fastest boat is on track, Ryan.
Oh, it's going to be a dandy. It's going to be a battle right down to the end. However, when you figure out the consistency out of that overkill racing team of Hughes and Haskey, the Werner Brown team's going to throw out the best they've got right here to win this deal.
Jolly Rogers Racing on track now. Eric Werner, the driver. Nicole Brown, the navigator. They know what's at stake here.
Nice, clean-looking run so far. One little bobble, but just listen to the engine. There you go. About the time I mentioned, it's like I put a hex on them.
The beauty of it is, though, they can recover so quickly with all this horsepower.
Yep, do a great job with it. It's a high-winding small block Chevrolet, and that's a great run, too.
46.478. That's the fastest run of the day That's putting the pressure on right here, right now.
Yeah, Warner and Brown saved the best for last right here. And that's it, Andy. Dennis Hughes. You got to remember, this machine has gone 40.79 to qualify.
Overkill Racing going after the championship. This is the final run of the day. It's all on the line in the super modified class. Dennis, Hughes, Madia, Haskey, trying to replicate what's been a near perfect afternoon.
Red, white, blue flame machine and a lot of steam, and that 8 into 1, as I mentioned during each run here so far. Great looking run so far.
The Chevy 355 is tuned just right for this course. We saw a lot of teams working in the pit area with Rob Klepper telling us how they're making those adjustments and talking to those drivers. Let's see if they made the right ones for this final run for Hughes and Haskey.
He's using that baby yet, but I mean, he's right in the center of the groove, and he's going to win it. Wow.
43.897. Just when you thought the fastest time of the day was going to be an issue, not an issue whatsoever for Hughes and Haskey. Indeed, time to celebrate for the champions.
Roughly 2.5 seconds separate our winners here.
43.897 Overkill. You guys were on Overkill all day long. Mattia Haskey, Dennis Hughes, congratulations. You guys just won here at Port Angeles.
Hey, thank you very much. Overkill boat just ran awesome all day. Thanks to Paul Davis, Davis Office Furniture, Oxark, True Colors Salon, Perfection Tire, De Leon Foods, ESP Sports Park for putting on this great event. It's been a great event all day long, very professional. We're really happy to race here.
Pressure on you guys that final run. You knew you had to lay it down there. You were sitting in the boat waiting with the timing light issue. What was going through your mind there?
I just wanted to get out there and hammer down. You know, it's a lot of fun to drive these things, and I like to push this thing and see how fast it'll go.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo!
Best of the day, and we certainly hope you enjoyed our coverage here, the American Sprint Boat Racing. On behalf of our entire crew, Rob Klepper, Brian Olson, I'm Jim Trado. Thanks for being with us. We'll catch you next time for some more American Sprint Boat Racing.